Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV, the Liverpool Development Watch, the final Liverpool Development Watch of the season. This is the episode where we're going to look at the youth side season in review. So let's just start and get right into it. Let's start with the under-23s who had a bit of a sticky start to the season but managed to turn it around and finish a respectable fourth in Premier League 2 in the end, that league being won by Everton. It was a season that started quite poorly. They were unable to buy a win at times. I think they won one in the first 6 or 7 games. And they suffered some quite heavy defeats as well. They lost 4-0 away at Arsenal, 2-1 at home to West Ham, who ended up finishing 11th. And then their low point of the season really came losing 7-0 at home to Villarreal in the Premier League International Cup in November. A really tough one there. They couldn't really progress any further in that competition after that. And that was the turning point though, because they then went on a really long unbeaten run that spanned right the way across to March. Now, there was a lot of draws in that at the same time. I think that they drew like 4 games in a row, 1-1. But they got the revenge on beating Arsenal with a 4-1 win, and they, had a really good little run there. Unfortunately, that ended by being beaten by Everton at home at Anfield, although they did beat Everton away at Goodison Park in that run, so kind of 1-1 in that sense in the Merseyside derby. I went to that home game. It was a Monday night, very early March it was. Freezing, absolutely freezing, and Everton quite comfortably beat us that night. And I think that was the game really that, while a title challenge was probably unrealistic going into that game anyway, that was the game that really killed it off for Neil Critchley's side. So what next? What next for these players? Who have been the top performers? Who've underachieved? Who's going to move on? We can look at the types of players such as Curtis Jones, George Johnston, who've both had another good season at youth level, which is all well and good. But I'm sure they're at a point in their careers now where they want to develop further and play a little bit more at a higher level, which is completely understandable. Obviously, we had Curtis Jones making his first team debut this season in the Wolves game. Other good players, Camacho made his debut this season, Gigana Hoover as well. So, we've got clearly quite a few hot prospects in there, but it's all about what's next for them. They're probably at a point where the under-23s they're not too good for them now. I just think that to really make the next step and catch Jurgen Klopp's attention even more, it's probably time for a loan for the likes of Curtis Jones, George Johnston, potentially even Adam Lewis. He's had a good season as well. He's fully established his place in that under-23 side now. Obviously, last season under Steven Gerrard, he was a part of the under-18 squad, but now he is fully part of that Neil Critchley side. He's been touted already as a potential replacement for Alberto Moreno this summer. I'm not quite sure that he's ready to be Andy Robertson's understudy yet. I think in the games that I've seen him play, I've watched as much as I can this season, but in the full games that I've seen him play, and I've really been able to focus on individual performances, particularly the Everton game was an example where he was a little bit off the pace. We didn't really have the strength to really compete. That's something that you can obviously work on. Building upper body muscle isn't something that you're either born with or not born with. It's definitely something that can be improved. But is he ready to be like our second choice left back? I'm not quite sure yet. I think he needs a loan as well. So look, there might be a bit of a shake-up within the academy this summer. I think that's what I'm driving at, especially with some of the older prospects, older/youth prospects like Harry Wilson, for example. We need to make a decision on his future this summer. Is he going to be part of the squad? Are we going to loan him again? Are we going to sell him permanently? You've got Ryan Kent in there as well, the likes of Ovie Ejaria, Shea Ojo, who are all massive names to us, but they need to figure out now what they're going to be doing next. Rafa Camacho is a big one. He doesn't seem as though he wants to stay. I think the contract negotiations aren't going too well. Wolves are supposed to be preparing a 10 million bid, so do we just cash in on him? The question that we've got to ask is, do we need these players, or would we prefer to make profit on them and maybe invest that into the first team squad properly? I think a lot of these players will be looking at the first team squad. I said it on the Loanee Development Watch, and wondering how they're going to get into the team, just because we have such a world-class starting 11 at the moment, which is really good for us, but potentially not so good for the under-23s. Regarding where they can improve next season, because I think that's a big discussion point, and I think as we get into pre-season, this will definitely be discussed a little bit more. Where can they go? I think they need a more natural goal scorer. I mean, Curtis Jones is very good, very creative on the ball, but they don't have a natural finisher, and that's where the under-18s come in. So obviously the under-18s have had a fantastic season by their standards. That seems to be the exciting team within the youth setup at the moment. When you compare like last seasons as well under Steven Gerrard, they were all free scoring, you know, going far in the Europa League or the UEFA Youth Cup. Obviously, the under-18s, much like last season under Steven Gerrard, were just this free scoring, exciting football machine, if you like, under Barry Lutus, and they've got two of the most clinical strikers in youth football in the world at the moment, in Bobby Duncan and Paul Glatzel, who've both had an incredible season as a partnership, but both individually. And I think both of those players next season will be looking to make the step up to the under-23s to basically continue their development as well. You know, that's what this is all about. That's what the academy is there for. It's for players to, well, mostly there for players to just continue their development and make sure that they're getting the right opportunities at the right time. And I think next season we're more than likely to see Paul Glatzel and Bobby Duncan play at under-23s level, because look, Bobby Duncan's made 43 appearances this season, 30 goals, 10 assists. That is madness, absolute madness. Paul Glatzel, 34 appearances in all competitions, 29 goals, also 10 assists. It's just that numbers are unheard of, and we've got to try and not get carried away with this kind of thing, because Don Solanke was the same. Don Solanke was producing these kind of numbers and just couldn't really cut it at Premier League level. However, Duncan and Glatzel, and I think probably Duncan in particular, they seem to have an extra level of intelligence, and I really do think that both of them, you know, it's hard to pick between the two. Glatzel really does seem like a future star. Whether Bobby Duncan can do it, I'm not as sure, but both of them are just so good. Both of them are so good. And obviously they finished second in the under-18s Premier League to Derby County, but obviously the big thing for them was winning the FA Youth Cup at Manchester City, against Manchester City on penalties, with Bobby Duncan scoring that screamer to equalise really late on. Manchester City have a really, really good youth setup, by the way, really good youth side. Probably a little bit worrying for us. They're kind of like a mini version of the team, the first team, in the sense of the way they press and they play really good, attractive football, and they're really hard working. It was a really good game to watch, really competitive. And actually, we did have somebody there. We had Jack Gill out there doing a vlog. I'm going to put that in here. He's going to tell you everything you need to know. He's going to give you that experience of what it was like to be there the night Liverpool won the FA Youth Cup. Here is Jack's vlog.
Hi, this is Jack Gill and welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm here at the Etihad campus today to watch Liverpool's under-18s versus Manchester City's under-18s in the Youth Cup final. Liverpool have had a good road to the final. We've played Bury, Wigan, Portsmouth, Accrington Stanley and Watford on the way, and it could be the first time we've won it since 2007. Chelsea have won it for the last 5 years, so if you'd like to come with me, we'll go and watch Barry Lutus' side with. Come on. 15 minutes gone, we've had a good start to the game here, both sides looking bright, chances for both teams. It's been a good first 15 minutes and it's a good turnout here at an under-18s Youth Cup final. Man City have just taken the lead through Nabil Touazi. It's 1-0, just on the stroke of half time. The ball had just gone up for stoppage time, but yeah, Man City lead by a goal to 0. Half time here at Manchester City's Academy Stadium. Manchester City lead Liverpool by a goal to 0. Liverpool will be a bit disappointed in their first half. Paul Glatzel and Bobby Duncan haven't had the ball as much as we'd like to see. Liverpool's best chance fell to Jake Kane, who had his shot cleared off the line. But yeah, half time, Manchester City 1, Liverpool 0. Started brilliantly in the second half. It's been a lot better from the Reds. We've seen two great chances for Abdi Sharif, both saved well by Molden in the Manchester City goal. Paul Glatzel just found himself with the ball as well, but Taylor Harwood-Bellis made a brilliant challenge. A lot better from Liverpool. Half an hour left. Manchester City 1, Liverpool 0. 4 4 minutes to go and Liverpool are level. Bobby Duncan the scorer. It's brilliant from the former Manchester City player. 25 yards out. He thinks, you know what, I'm just going to hit it. Mulder parries it into his own net. The goalkeeper should have done better, but we don't care. Liverpool are level. The Youth Cup dream's still alive. 4 minutes or so to go. Looks like it's going to head for extra time here. Full time here, it's Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1. The Youth Cup final is heading to extra time after Bobby Duncan's late equaliser. It's been a brilliant game of football here and a good turnout for an under-18s game, and we will see another half an hour of football here. I'm looking forward to it. Just coming up to half time of extra time. It's still Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1. The first half of extra time we've not really seen much. Jack Burns come on, Jake Kane's gone off. That's all we've seen so far really. No real clear-cut chances, a couple of corners for both sides, but nothing really to report. Half time of extra time, Liverpool 1, Manchester City 1. Still 15 minutes left. We're heading into a penalty shootout here at the Academy Stadium here in Manchester. It's Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1, the full-time score. Bobby Duncan's late equaliser in normal time, sending it to extra time and now penalties of course. It was a dull and drab extra time. Manchester City looks more likely to score out of the two sides. But to be honest with you, a draw's about right. Here we go, heading into penalties. Come on you Reds. This is his penalty. Liverpool lose by 2 goals to 1 after 2 penalties each. Come on, you Reds! Get in! Save. So there we have it, Barry Lutus's under-18 side have beaten Manchester City in the Youth Cup final by 5 goals to 3 on penalties after a 1-all draw. Bobby Duncan got the goal to equalise in the 86th minute and Paul Glatzel scored the deciding penalty to make sure the Reds were the Youth Cup winners for the first time since 2007. Beating Manchester City in the final of course, and hopefully the first team can beat Manchester City to the Premier League title this season. It was a brilliant night for youth football with a brilliant turnout at the Manchester City Academy Stadium, and I for one thoroughly enjoyed it. It was brilliant to see the Reds getting their hands on a trophy. Curtis Jones as well was there tonight. It was lovely to see him involved in the squad. Of course, he is one of our young successes, made a first team appearance against Wolves in the FA Cup earlier on in the season. Thank you very much for following this vlog, and hopefully you'll be seeing me very soon.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There was Jack's vlog for the Manchester City versus Liverpool Youth Cup final. And there you go as well. That is the Liverpool Development Watch for this season. That was the youth season review. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for watching all season. I know that the show's kind of been stagnated in parts of the season, especially when we chose to switch it from weekly to monthly. But I think it's probably been better that way. So give me feedback as to what you think in the season below. Not sure if I'll be doing it next season. I don't know whether somebody else, like Jack maybe, will be continuing doing the show, but either way, there'll definitely be some Development Watch content next season for 2019-2020. So again, thanks for watching all the way through the season, those who have. Leave me a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up as always, and yeah, we'll see you next season on the Liverpool Development Watch. Ta-ra.